24 tournaments, 24 missed cuts, 2 years without playing a single competitive weekend, and then, out of nowhere, back-to-back wins. His name was Ray, 48, silver in his hair, a navy pullover soaked through. He walked off the 18th into a wet parking lot glowing red under neon, another missed cut behind him. The locker room was quiet. No reporters waited anymore. The cameras had stopped bothering. 2 years he'd been falling. By the end of this, you'll know exactly what pulled him out and why it had almost nothing to do with talent. Stay with me. There was one man who never once said the word quit. Sal, 60s, gray beard, an olive rain jacket, a worn towel slung over his shoulder like it had grown there. 30 years he'd read greens for Ray. Reporters asked Sal straight out if it was time. He just wiped the rain off a club head and shrugged. The man can still hit shots you'll dream about, he'd say, and go back to work in the dark. But the rituals never stopped. Long before the sun, Ray was on an empty range, floodlights buzzing, city glow smeared across wet grass. No crowd, no cameras, just the thok of iron on ball and his breath fogging the cold air. Bucket after bucket, the same swing, the same divot pattern, the rain misting through the light beams. Sal stood behind him counting, saying nothing. This was the part nobody filmed, the part that would decide everything. The whispers grew teeth. Panels debated whether he should retire with dignity. Younger players called him a legend, the polite word for finished. Online strangers wrote his career's obituary between commercials. Ray heard all of it. Some nights he sat in his car in that neon red lot, hands still on the wheel, wondering if they were right, if the body forgets, if the gift just leaves. He didn't tell Sal. He just showed up the next morning. Here's something worth knowing. A swing rehearsed for decades doesn't live in your thoughts, it's burned into procedural memory, wired deep in the cerebellum, the brain's quiet motor library. Doubt can jam that signal. It can flood the line with static until your hands shake over the ball, but doubt cannot delete the skill. The pattern is still there, intact, waiting under the noise. Ray's swing hadn't vanished. It was buried, and buried is not gone. You could see the jam in real time. Over a 5-foot putt, cameras long gone, Ray's hands would tremble, the muscle knew the stroke, but the static screamed louder. It's still in there, he told Sal one gray morning, tapping his own chest, half a question. I know it's still in there. Sal nodded slow, rain dripping off his cap. Then we quiet the noise, he said. One ball at a time, that's all we ever do. Pause for a second. Think about the last thing you were good at that suddenly felt impossible, the lift that stalled, the work that stopped clicking, the morning the alarm won. That gap between what you can still do and what you believe you can do, that's not the skill leaving, that's the static. Everybody feels it. Almost nobody outlasts it. What separated Ray wasn't confidence, he had none. It was that he kept showing up without it. 2 years is a long time to bleed in public. There were near misses that stung worse than the missed cuts. A Sunday lead surrendered on the back nine. A putt that lipped out under stadium lights slick with rain. Each one reopened the questions. Each one, Ray drove home through wet neon streets and set his alarm for dark o'clock anyway. Sal was always there first, balls stacked, towel ready. Nothing said. The range lights humming in the mist. The press stopped asking about his game and started asking about his exit. Any thoughts on stepping away? Have you considered the windows closed? The words landed like cold rain. Ray gave the same tired answer and walked to the range under the neon glow. Behind the microphones, a reporter muttered that it was sad to watch. Sal heard it. He didn't argue. Some fights you don't win with words, you win them with the next morning. Every single morning, Sal said the same 4 words. Ray would arrive gutted, doubt hanging on him like the wet fog, and Sal would hand him a club and say it plain, the work still counts. Not the wins, not the rankings, the work. Rain or shine, cameras or none, the work still counts. Ray came to lean on that line like a railing in the dark. 4 words. He repeated them under his breath through every empty, floodlit dawn. Then came the night he nearly walked. Alone in a hotel room, city neon bleeding through the blinds, Ray had the retirement statement half-written on his phone. His thumb hovered over send. Everything in him said stop, spare yourself, take the dignity, go home. The rain hammered the glass. Then he read Sal's text from that morning. 3 words, see you tomorrow. Ray set the phone down. He didn't delete the statement. He just chose one more time to show up. That was the choice that cost him. Staying meant more Sundays that might break his heart on camera. It meant risking the ugliest ending in front of everyone when quitting offered a soft exit and a clean story. He chose the risk. He chose possible humiliation over certain surrender, and that decision, made in a neon-lit room at 2 a.m., is the whole hinge of this story. Not a swing change, a refusal, the refusal to hand it back. Months later, it broke. A major championship, the final round, rain sweeping the fairways under a bruised sky. Ray stood over a putt on 18, hands steady now, the static finally gone quiet. The procedural memory, buried but never erased, took over. The ball dropped. 2 years of silence shattered into a roar. Sal turned away so the cameras wouldn't catch his face. On the wet green under the lights, the old swing had come home. One win, they said, was a beautiful fluke. So Ray answered them. The very next major, he did it again, back-to-back titles, wire to wire, wet asphalt in the parking lot now crowded with the cameras that had forgotten his name a season ago. The whispers died in a single putt. Comeback of the year, they called him. But Ray wasn't chasing the title or the trophy. He was chasing the quiet morning proof that the work still counted. Sit with what that took. 2 years of missing, of near misses, of riding and unriding his own ending, beaten out on an empty range while the world assumed he was done. If you're grinding through something nobody's clapping for right now, this channel is your corner. Subscribe and stand with the ones who refuse to quit. Because Ray's real trophy wasn't the majors. It was every dark morning he showed up when it made no sense at all. When they finally asked Sal his secret, he didn't mention swing planes or splits. He wiped a club head, glanced at Ray, and said the 4 words one more time: the work still counts. That's what carried a finished man back to the top of his sport. Not belief, he'd run out of that long ago. Not luck. Just an unglamorous, floodlit stubbornness, repeated through 2 years of rain until the storm finally ran out of sky. So here's what Ray's 2 years mean for your Tuesday. Your form will leave. Some season, the thing you're good at will stop answering, and everyone, maybe even you, will call it the end. It isn't. Form is temporary weather. Discipline is the climate you keep no matter what's falling from the sky. The next time you want to quit at 5 a.m., remember, the skill isn't gone. It's just buried under noise. Keep showing up and outlast it. Form is a weather pattern. Discipline is the climate. Outlast the storm and the sky always clears. Ray didn't win because his talent came back, it never left. He won because he refused to leave before the rain did. If you're standing in your own 2-year storm, showing up for work nobody sees, this one was for you. Outlast the storm, the sky clears. I'm Cole. Subscribe, a new story like this every evening.